Greetings everyone, Fru here. Welcome to the Demo Hub. Now ChatGPT is live. Everybody's talking about it. I've been getting emails and messages of folks saying, "Hey Fru, when are you gonna make a demo or a discussion about ChatGPT? Such an amazing language model from OpenAI." And ChatGPT, to be honest, is very fascinating. At this point, saying ChatGPT is amazing is just like saying water is wet. It's pretty obvious to anybody who looks at it that we're seeing something pretty revolutionary here. For that reason, I've really tried to hold off on jumping in and making a demo or a video, because by this time, if you haven't seen a demo or a video or somebody talking about it on the social medias, then I don't know, you've probably not been paying close attention. So ChatGPT, it's a language model, one of the most fascinating out there. I'm going to give a couple of comments about what it is and also just a quick demo. This is not going to be a comprehensive demo, but just to show you the UI, because when folks come here, you want to see a demo and not just my commentary. That's it. Let's jump in. And this is coming from somebody, one of the most popular videos on GPT as a whole on YouTube. So I think I do have a certain level of authority when I talk about ChatGPT, because I've been on the GPT bandwave long before people who are jumping on LinkedIn now and talking about GPT even knows what GPT was. So years ago, I was paying close attention to this team, what they were doing, and knew that the language models, the transformers that they were building was really something to pay close attention to. And now the whole industry seems to be catching up to it, which is why, like when Gretzky, a famous hockey player, once said, "You don't skate to where the puck is, you skate to where the puck is going to be." A lot of people are skating to where the puck is right now and talking about GPT. For me, I'm always interested in looking at where the puck is going to be and trying to get there. GPT has been around, it's nothing new. ChatGPT is just a new incantation of it. And what has really changed is not the language model behind. They've tuned it a little bit more with a lot more retention, so you can have a conversation in terms of a chat type experience, as opposed to GPT-3, which didn't have any retention. You ask your question, you give it a prompt, and it gave you a result. Having some form of a retention so you can actually have a conversation seems to have been the biggest change that really came with this. Now, if we switch into the UI, it's a pretty straightforward UI. Again, what is the biggest revolution that has happened here? GPT-3 has been around for a while. This is not something new. Folks who seem to be talking about it like it came out yesterday, no, we've been making videos about this years and years ago. You can go in and see some of the most popular videos on the channel here. By the way, if you haven't subscribed so you can stay in front of the wave like we do, subscribe to this channel, because we're going to be showing you the new technologies before the whole industry is jumping on it, because we have our radars out there for things like this. Now, going back, GPT-3 has been out for a long time. GPT-3 is the language model that powers ChatGPT. The biggest change that has happened is just the interface. It's such an amazing thing to see how changing the interface of GPT, which was you go in and you write your prompt and you get a result, into a more chat type experience, makes it so revolutionary. Now, what that tells me is, as leaders, as visionaries, developers of products, that chat, the ability to chat, is a very powerful interface that people seem to like. This is very different than the experience of going to, let's say, Google, and you search. When you go to Google, you're not having a chat experience. You're just asking your questions and you're getting a result. But what this is proving to me is that there is something about a chat experience where you can ask a result and you get it like you're chatting with somebody. Something is here, and people really should pay close attention to, for product builders, for startup founders, that this chat experience, the way it seems to be catching on here with ChatGPT, tells me if I'm building a product, I will be scratching my head and saying, hey, do we really need a chat experience here if it can work? It's so fascinating to look at technology and just see how things seem to come full circle. Chat is an experience that was touted back in early 2010. All of the software products, Facebook, and every website you go to will have a little bit of a chat experience on your website. The idea was that that would be the future, that will catch on. But to be honest, it did not really catch on as it should. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on why that chat experience on websites did not catch on. But what ChatGPT is telling us is that there is something to it. If your language model, if that experience is so powerful, then maybe, just maybe, it will catch on. I can go in and give you examples here and prompting, but I believe that you'll see a ton of that on the internet. Nothing stops you from creating an account and testing it yourself. It's pretty fascinating. If you put in this prompt, which they have here as an example of explaining quantum computing in simple terms, it's going to give you an answer. It seems profound. We're not going into the challenges or the limitations of this. We're just gonna tell you it's amazing. Go in and try it yourself. If you want code, it's gonna give you the code. Is this new? Not really, because again, GPT-3 gave us a lot of this, and that's why we were doing demos on this years and years ago. So just go in and try it out. It's very fascinating. Kudos to the team at OpenAI. I personally have communicated with some of the leaders there and the engineering team there back when they were still working on GPT-3. I wasn't even aware that ChatGPT was something they were working on. So kudos to all of that team, Sam and all of his team. They're building this. Is pretty amazing. For me, one of the things that I'm really waiting for, which I think hopefully will happen this year, is GPT-4, because GPT-3, I think it was about 175 billion parameters. GPT-4 would probably be orders of magnitudes greater than that. Once GPT-4 comes out, and now we have ChatGPT based on GPT-4. If you think ChatGPT is amazing, just wait until you see what will happen when T4 comes out and that engine is fine-tuned for the chat experience, which will then power ChatGPT. I think that will be pretty amazing. So we're reaching an inflection point here with language models that are just becoming so capable. The only thing I fear is that we don't get into kind of a local optima where we get to a point where we're just spending time incrementally making language models amazing, as opposed to fundamentally looking at new paradigms of how AI really should work. That's just a little bit of a concern that I have when I put on a bigger hat and I'm looking at this. But I think there are many smart people working on this. For anyone looking at this for the very first time, this seems to be amazing. But if you've been following our channel, I'm hoping that this is not the first time you're hearing about GPT-3, or hopefully this is not the first time you're hearing about ChatGPT. And now I can say, if GPT-4 is not on your radar, definitely keep that on your radar, because sometime this year, I'm hoping, hopefully this year, GPT-4 is going to drop. And when GPT-4 comes out, then ChatGPT will be updated to use GPT-4. And if you think, again, this is amazing, just wait until you see what happens when GPT-4 comes out with maybe the first trillion parameter language model is going to come out, like a language model trained on trillions of parameters, as opposed to the billions that we're currently working with GPT or Albert or Roberta, or Google has their deep brain, deep mind, and all the things that they're working on the Google side. Is really an arms race in terms of who is going to win in this space as far as language models is concerned. Humans, we think in terms of language, we communicate in terms of language. So solving for language is such a very fascinating thing to watch happening in our own times, right? This is like the golden age of computing to me. It's like when I sit and I think about what Bill Gates and some of those folks were experiencing in the 60s and the 70s, when computation was just coming to its own. This is it. People will be looking and saying that, hey, what was happening when language models were just being formulated and really coming to their own back in the 2020s or so? And then you'll be saying, yeah, at that time I was in the field and I really was seeing what was happening. So just pay attention to it. I think it's pretty big. There is a lot that's going to happen, and hopefully this just gives you a quick orientation. The UI is very simple. Jump in, create an account, test it out. It's very powerful for writing code, asking questions, answering questions. It's just an overall very, very capable platform. Hopefully this gives you a good idea. As always, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Here on Demo Hub, we're going to be publishing out many demos on very exciting data tools. Of course, the folks at OpenAI are definitely some of the most brilliant out there, but be rest assured we have content on so many different amazing data tools. Share this with somebody that will get value out of it. This has been Fru here with Demo Hub, and I'll see you in our next demo.